Hello and welcome to RJ OCD Recovery. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the physiology of obsessive compulsive disorder and how to retrain your brain for relief and relaxation. But before we get started, if you need more help in overcoming retroactive jealousy and OCD, I have a couple different resources that you can use. Number one is the RJ OCD Recovery Group. This is a free and private group that I've created that has loads of different information and courses you will have access to. And you can interact with all of the other members who are on their own healing journey as well. You can also work with me one-on-one, and I offer a free 30-minute consultation call. Link is in the description below. Let's get into the video. You have 3 different parts of your brain, and they all do very different things. First is the reptilian or lizard brain. That's the red part down here. And this part of your brain is responsible for your instincts. It's also responsible for a lot of subconscious things like your heart rate, your breathing, and your balance. Next, you have the limbic system, the limbic brain, also known as your emotional brain. This part of your brain dictates your autonomic nervous system, which is basically whether you are in fight or flight or rest and digest. A huge piece in obsessive compulsive disorder, as you will learn in just a minute. It's also responsible for helping you make long-term memories and responsible for all of your sensory inputs. So your scent, your sight, your taste, your hearing, and your touch. And finally, we have the prefrontal cortex, also known as the neocortex, which is the front part of your brain that is responsible for thoughtfulness, questioning things, language, your ability to plan. It allows you to decipher between good and bad as well. And it also allows you to be compassionate, thoughtful, and loving to other people, even if you disagree with them. There is a part of your prefrontal cortex near the front bottom called the orbitofrontal cortex. And this part of your brain is extremely active in people with obsessive compulsive disorder. And that is because it is responsible for making sense of all of the emotional signals that are getting sent to it by the limbic system. And speaking of the limbic system, let's go over the different parts of the limbic system. So first we have the amygdala, which is a tiny pea-sized little part of your brain that is responsible for fear and other emotions. Now the amygdala sends out these emotional signals to the thalamus, which sort of acts like the filter for the brain. And the thalamus is going to send that emotional information to other parts of the brain to be processed. So the thalamus will send the information to the hypothalamus, and the hypothalamus is the part of your brain that dictates your autonomic nervous system, fight or flight, rest and digest. And the hypothalamus, if it determines that you are in danger, will send a response to the pituitary gland. And the pituitary gland will send signals to the rest of your body to release hormones of stress so that you can respond to the stress and danger in a way that will help you survive. And finally, we also have the hippocampus, which is the part of your brain that associates the emotion and makes a long-term memory so that you're better prepared for the situation if you experience it in the future. When an emotion gets sent out from the amygdala and it gets processed by the thalamus is going to be sending that information to the orbitofrontal cortex like this. Now, because the orbitofrontal cortex is so overactive in people with OCD, we believe that this is because the amount of signals that are being sent from the limbic system is completely overwhelming the orbitofrontal cortex, completely overwhelming it to the point where it cannot handle the amount of information coming in. And that is why when you have OCD, you feel like you've lost control of your brain. No amount of logic and reason can actually get your brain to relax until you do the compulsion that your brain is trying to convince you that you need to do. So this is why it's extremely important for you to break that cycle. You need to break this loop of communication. How do you do that? Well, we can shrink the amygdala and we can also strengthen and get the thalamus working properly. So you can shrink the amygdala by doing a regular meditation practice. We know that regular meditation, especially in the morning, helps to shrink the amygdala significantly. And we also know that the thalamus works better if you are doing something that is authentic to you, something that you love, or if you are feeling love and appreciation for yourself, another person, or a situation that you find yourself in. So this is why having a lot more self-love and compassion and understanding for your partner and for yourself and your current relationship situation allows you to get a lot more relief from the obsessive compulsive thoughts. Something else to note is that when you have this hypervigilant state in your limbic system where it's completely overactive, your hippocampus tends to shrink. And we actually see people who suffer from OCD having less access to or more difficulty remembering old fond memories. And that is because your body and your brain think that they need to be in survival mode, even though you might be totally safe in this moment. And so the hippocampus is only going to be holding on to the memories that are most pertinent towards your own survival. And when you start to reduce the size of your amygdala, we see that the size of the hippocampus actually grows and you gain more access and easier access to more fond memories from your past. There are lots of different ways that you can rewire and relax your limbic system and the fear centers of your brain. If you are interested in learning more about these exercises, you can access the OCD and limbic system course in the RJ OCD recovery group, or you can work with me one-on-one and I'd be happy to teach you about these exercises. And that's going to wrap up this video for today. Hope you guys are doing well, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.